Nationally determined commitments are the building blocks of the Paris Agreement. They're commonly referred to as NDCs. They are the actions that parties to the treaty plan to take to address climate change. They came about largely because they provide the global community with a bottom-up approach by which individual parties voluntarily determine their own contributions based on national circumstances and priorities. This is in stark contrast to the globally determined top-down approach of previous global efforts such as the Kyoto Protocol. The first national plans were called intended nationally determined contributions, and after the Paris Agreement was agreed upon, these evolved into NDCs. To date, there are 190 NDCs submitted to the UNFCCC, the Climate Change Secretariat in Bonn, and they're held at the NDC registry, which is easily accessible on the website. The next round of NDCs are due in 2020. The Paris Agreement requires that they are progressively ambitious, and the next round of NDCs should therefore show greater action, greater commitment to achieving the objectives of the Paris Agreement. The actions contained in all NDCs represent the collective global effort which will determine whether the world will achieve the objectives of the Paris Agreement, in particular the long-term temperature goal of 1.5 degrees. It is on the NDCs that the Paris Agreement will either stand or fall. The major issues around NDCs which are being discussed now are what goes into the NDCs, largely mitigation actions, adaptation objectives, finance and technology, as well as capacity building, and an element of transparency that allows for monitoring, measurement, verification, and reporting. Are they legally binding? Some elements, yes. Largely procedural are legally binding. These are commitments to prepare, communicate, and maintain NDCs. They need to provide information that encourages clarity, transparency, and understanding, and that they need to provide a national inventory on mitigation actions. The achievement of the NDC itself is not legally binding on the party. There's a compliance committee built into the Paris Agreement whose mandate is to carry out its functions in a facilitative, non-intrusive, and non-punitive manner which is respectful of national sovereignty. So far, there's a wide disparity in how parties represent NDC information, so much of the ongoing discussions is how to provide some common modalities, procedures, and guidelines that allow for comparability across the board. The Paris Agreement requires parties to periodically take stock of implementation to assess progress towards achieving its purpose. The first global stock place will take place in 2023 and 5 years thereafter, every 5 years thereafter. There's also analytical work being done on how countries have prioritized climate action. I have a lovely little publication here produced by UNEP and its partners, which provides detailed information on NDCs. It's also available in soft copy on the website.